Magé Memory Rescue Group. Presence. Maria Conga, a Quilombo warrior from Magé.
According to history, Maria Conga was born in Africa, in Congo in 1792, and was brought by the Portuguese as a slave to Brazil.
The slave ships that transported Africans to Brazil were called tamberos.
Many of the blacks, crammed into the holds, died during the journey.
The conditions were the worst possible on a ship journey that lasted up to 50 days, illustration that ignited the British abolitionist movement.
In 1645, the shortage of parts was evident in America. Ships were carrying more than 1,000 in a single voyage. In some cases, the mortality rate reached 50%.
Arriving in 1804, separated from her parents and siblings, she was sold to a sugar mill owner in Salvador at the age of 12 and baptized with the name Maria de Conceição. Valongo, Rio de Janeiro. At the age of 18, she was transferred to Rio de Janeiro.
Arriving at Old Port Velho of Praia de Piedade, MHJ, aged 24, was sold to the German Count Ferdinand von Scoilder, owner of an agricultural farm in Figueira, MHJ neighborhood. After 11 years of work, she was freed.
When slaves arrived from Africa, they disembarked at the old Port Velho of Praia de Piedade, where the auction square was located, and were chained to the wall. The slaves were already setting up their resistance strategy in the cradle of the municipality of MHJ.
Former Old Port Velho of Praia de Piedade, MHJ. In 1831, the Feijó law prohibited the transatlantic slave trade at the Valongo, Rio de Janeiro, but this trade began to be practiced illegally in the old port of Praia de Piedade from 1831 until the Eusebio de Quiro's law in 1850.
Professor Carlos Gabriel, from the História Institute of the Fluminense Federal University, explained that on November 7, 1831, the Feijó law prohibited the slave trade in Valongo, moving to Old Port Velho of Praia de Piedade, MHJ, the place of illegal disembarkation of slaves, deceiving the English until 1850, who wanted the end of the slave trade in Brazil.
With the illegal trade of Africans being practiced in Old Port Velho of Praia de Piedade, MHJ, the expression "law to English man's sea" emerged, used to describe laws or rules that are demagogic and are not complied with in practice.
Professor Carlos Gabriel from the History Institute of the Fluminense Federal University concludes,
it is an important port for the memory of slavery and slaves. Currently, the beach of the Old Port Velho of Praia de Piedade, MHJ, another cultural treasure unknown in MHJ. A famous phrase from Maria Conga when she fell into the hands of a slave master.
You imprisoned my body, destroyed my dreams, but you were unable to alienate my consciousness as a black woman.
The Black Warrior, after leading the Quilombo, spent most of her life in the forests of MHJ and Guapamirim, fleeing from the sugar mill owners who wanted her dead.
The slaves, tired of mistreatment, fled to the Quilombo de Maria Conga. Slave owners sent the captains of the forest to capture their runaway slaves. At the time, Morro do Bonfim, the escape route for slaves heading towards Quilombo, and it became a battlefield when the slave masters sent their henchmen to rescue them. All those who were captured were severely punished publicly to serve as a lesson. They were forbidden from practicing their religion, festivals, and rituals. Despite all the impositions and restrictions, they did not let African culture fade away and developed a form of fighting, capoeira. Maria de Conceição, nicknamed Maria Conga, left no descendants and spent her life searching for the family she never found. She is remembered as saying that no one ever saw her cry.
Forgotten by our official history, she was a warrior and charismatic and died at the age of 103 on October 5, 1895.
Quilombos represented one of the forms of resistance and combat against slavery. They sought freedom, rescuing culture, and contributing to the formation of Afro-Brazilian culture. Buried in the Bongaba Cemetery, next to the Church of Our Lady of Piedade in Hamiram, Old Miner's Path. The Morro de Maria Conga is located very close to the center of Magé, on the banks of the railway line. Recognized by the Ministry of Culture, this hill houses a cultural treasure. The history of Maria Conga is a symbol of resistance and represents the importance of guaranteeing land ownership for Quilombola communities, allowing them to continue to preserve their traditions, ways of life, and contribute to Brazilian cultural diversity.
Maria Conga Square, the leader of the Quilombo of Magé.
Worse than not having the right to free expression is having all the freedom and still being silent.
The Maria Conga Award is an honor granted by the Municipal Chamber of Magé. It is intended to honor people who have distinguished themselves in the municipality, recognizing their relevant contributions in various areas, such as culture, education, sports, public service, social action, entrepreneurship, among others. The municipality of Magé has this and other historical riches in historical and cultural heritage. Its preservation and the continuity of memory is fundamental for the exercise of our cultural citizenship and for the rescue of the memory of our city. Porto Velho da Piedade, Magé. Marcílio da Costa Wadu, poet, playwright, founder of the Nova Iguaçu Association. Promoter of the history of Maria de Conceição, Conga of Magé.
Mage Memory Rescue Group.